got something to share in either wisdom, story, or logic. And it's clearly amazing to hear all the differing missing links discovered by people unique to their own journeys and in how they have come to discover them. Together, we can help to build a bigger picture for a better future, for a brighter tomorrow. Let's stand united. Let's remove the veils and let's create a new world together. Are you that missing link? Join Jesse Hale on the Missing Link Talk Show as he helps to unveil the mystery through the unique wisdom and store of others.
3, 2, 1.
Welcome, everybody here back to the Missing Link. Today we are excited to talk to Waking Up in the Dream, Jeff Cloud, coming to us from Thailand. How are you today, brother Jeff?
Doing great. I'm really honored to be here. Thanks for everything that you do and share. We're in a really, really exciting time right now. A lot of what some people may call intense energies, but there's so much good happening. And I'm just happy to come on and share a little bit about that.
Awesome. Well, why don't we start off with you telling us about yourself, your journey, where you came from, how you ended up in Thailand. Get, the people that are watching here to be able to get to know you better, from your own words.
Okay. I was born in the Midwest in Cincinnati, Ohio. I grew up with two sisters. I was in the middle. And part of my soul contract, my life's journey was my father was killed in a plane crash when I was 7 years young. And so I was kind of the only kid in school and in the neighborhood without a dad. And it was a little bit weird. It was a little bit painful. Again, all part of my soul contract, but I didn't know it then. And part of my other major training was I was tossed into private Catholic schools in second grade. And I guess I came in awake. I don't mean for that to sound egotistical in any way, because I had no idea what that even was. But starting off in Catholic school, where these nuns were extremely pissed off, every single day was Judgment Day, and the energy was anything but love. And I knew that, and I could feel it, even though I didn't know the first thing about being awake. So I was in private Catholic schools, had to wear a little bow tie and a uniform. And me and my best friend were always the ones in trouble because we were always questioning everything, even though we were straight A and B students according to the tests that were given. And so, interestingly enough, I was in that system until about ninth grade. And I was also an altar boy in church every Sunday. And luckily, nothing ever happened to me personally, but I know some people that did. And this was all training for me it was the beginning of going down the rabbit hole for me. And so I had a couple stepfathers. My mom remarried, and I ended up getting pulled out to San Diego, California. And I moved out on my own right before I turned 16 because my parents would put me on restriction all the time. And restriction meant you'd go to school, you'd come home, and you'd be locked in your room. You couldn't go out. And this was just because in California, my friends had a little bit later curfew. And so if I wanted to go out and hang out with them, and the only friend that had a car, his name was Joe Cole, I would come home late. So I'd get in trouble. I wasn't a bad kid, but this was all part of my path and my training. So I got tired of being restricted in my room. And so I moved out on my own right before I turned 16 and made a lot of mistakes, got into partying. But one of the things, my biggest passion is I got into music. I became a recording engineer. I'm a guitar player, and I've done that all my life. So I lived in my recording studios in San Diego for about 27 years. So I didn't have to pay rent, and I could build up my gear from that. And I've had a really good career recording people from all over the world. But what ended up happening to me, which brings us to where I am today, is in 2001, searching to basically relieve pain and trauma that had happened to me when I was growing up, and repetitive patterns of fighting the system and judgment. And I was taught to be a judgeaholic in Catholic school. And it's a huge part of my book, Waking Up in the Dream, because judgment is the biggest addiction on the planet. And it's what keeps us stuck in repeating 3D timelines. And so in 2001, I was lucky enough to meet one of my mentors, Don Miguel Ruiz, author of The Four Agreements and The Mastery of Love. And I became an apprentice of his for about 7 years. And he got me to see a lot of the programming that we're dreaming all the time, that we're creating our reality. And I just started undoing and going in and having to own my shit, so to speak, own my fears, my doubts, and see how the ego combined with the belief system, which we're going to get into, keeps us prisoners in a lot of way. Because when I was asked to write down what all my beliefs were as an exercise from my mentor, I realized none of my beliefs were even mine. They all came from outside myself, the Catholic Church, my parents, my grandparents, the history, the schooling. It was, and most of it was a lie. And so that really opened up my awareness, my conscious awareness. And I was like, oh my God, everybody's reacting to either one of two things: anything that challenges their belief system, or anything that triggers on an unhealed childhood wound. So, and then I got into, how do we really create our ideal reality? And the way that we do that is to realize that we are walking, talking, vibrating magnets in every moment. And every thought, every word, and the vibrational frequency that we put behind that is creating these timelines that are what we call our reality. And it's happening very quickly. And so I realized that I was recreating the same timelines that I didn't want. I grew up around lack. Money was a huge, big deal for my mom. My uncle had 8 kids. And so the whole mirrored thing to me in my life was money is difficult, money is scarce. And for many, many years, most of my life, that was challenging. So I finally broke through that one. And then I just realized that we're having 50 to 80,000 thoughts a day, the average person. And statistics show that 80% of those are negative. And so I had to figure out a way that I could stop my ego, which I named Larry. And I invite everybody to name their ego if you really want to go deep and begin to dismantle the automatics that are not, let's say they're low vibrational: fear, doubt, judgment, worry. They must be undone. And so this is what's happening right now on the planet. We're being assisted with all of these things that are being revealed and all of the energies that are coming into the planet. So I just love, I guess I'm a guide. I mirror people through what I've learned over the last 20, 30 plus years. And all I can say is the stuff works. So probably enough of an intro there.
No, that's perfect. So you are connecting online, you're sharing with people. There's someone named Jelf. He said, say hi to Jelf too. He's the one who connected me.
You did connect us. Thank you, brother. I appreciate it.
Yeah, he connected us together. So what are you currently doing to connect with people right now?
I'm mostly connected through Facebook. And like you mentioned in the beginning, I'm in Thailand. In 2016, my 5th recording studio had a freak accident where a pipe broke underneath the floor and it flooded my studio. I didn't lose any of my gear, my guitars or anything, but it put me out of business for 6 months. At the end of that time, the landlords decided that they lost money from the insurance company. So 4 days before December in 2016, I was told that I was going to have to move out in 34 days. So after 6 months of no income, I lost my business, my place of living, and it was all perfect, although it wasn't that comfortable at the time. So I met a woman on Facebook She was a yoga teacher, and she lived outside of Bangkok. I didn't even know where Thailand was on the map. I still don't really know where I am. But we thought we were soulmates. And so I came to Thailand with only $650 to my name. No backup plan. And I was just convinced that we're going to kick butt. This is my soulmate. And we're going to live happily ever after. We're going to share these tools with people. And what happened is my relationship with this woman was over within about 2 weeks. And I ended up perfectly with nowhere to go, no job, nowhere to come back to in San Diego, California. And I saw it all. I was laying in bed and I went, oh my God, this is a perfect setup. Wow, what are you going to do? And so obviously, to be honest, I had a little bit of fear in my body, but I had just basically kind of completed the book, Waking Up in the Dream. And for those that haven't heard me speak before, I never planned on writing a book ever, never. I don't have any credentials to write a book. What this book is, it's downloads that came to me through my own process of healing and realizing that the belief system wasn't even mine. In fact, our belief system is basically a tiny, tiny little prison for most people. And if that triggers you, look at your ego, because we know nothing compared to what is out there. What we think we know wouldn't even fit on the head of a pin. And so if you're open to that and you have the courage to go, okay, that's interesting. And like my teacher Miguel told me, don't believe me, but don't believe yourself. Question everything. So the process of waking up in the dream is a process of beginning to, number one, do the inner healing. Because if you don't do that, you're holding frequencies that are going to keep you stuck in basically what we term the 3D matrix now. And you're going to keep attracting same situations, same people, lack, drama, whatever. So that's the first part. Second part is realizing that your beliefs aren't even yours. I mean, I only kept 2 beliefs. And that is, I do believe that we are sovereign, divine, unlimited beings. Key word, unlimited. And I don't know that many people, including myself, that are even scratching the surface of the word and the potential of unlimited. But this is what we get to look at and play with right now. And the other belief that I kept is that love is the answer in every situation. And now this doesn't mean to ever accept abuse from anybody. I have a mantra that I share with everybody I journey with, and that is, anything less than love is unacceptable in my life and relationships. I'll mirror somebody if they come at me strong because I have the ability to be calm and observe. But then if they come back again and they just want to be, negative, then I'm like, I'm out. So this helps to clean up your frequencies a lot, and it completely shifts what you begin to attract and manifest into your reality. So if anybody has any questions, I see stuff popping in, but I haven't been able to really track it. I'm happy to answer any questions or anything, because I'm just here to share what I've learned and what works for me. And if it works for other people, great. But we're basically here to get excited right now, because we came here knowingly or unknowingly, whether we remember it or not, to be here at probably the greatest time in recorded history. And it's no mistake that we're here right now. And you look around and things are being exposed left and right. You're doing an amazing job at it. What I share is about really being aware of what you're giving your energy to. Because the 3D matrix is throwing everything at people distraction-wise. Every week it's something else. It's the jibby jab. It's now babies don't have milk. Now it's food shortages. They're throwing everything at us. And if you can do something about it and hold your frequency, that's great. The one thing to know is that these people all this diabolical stuff is imploding. They're being removed from the planet. It's happening. However, if you're getting sucked into that, in many ways, it's lowering your frequency. So everybody has to decide what they want to give their energy and focus to. And for me, it's focusing on keeping your frequency high, beginning first thing every single morning. As soon as I wake up with my head on the pillow, I immediately go into self-love. And I never used to do this. And this is something that a lot of men are resistant to because they're like, oh, don't be a pussy. You got to be a man. And that's why men have a lot more heart attacks than women. And they've been really programmed because they've had to fight and be the warriors. And, I'm a warrior of love. I'm not even really that big on the word warrior anymore. But every single morning, I give love to every one of these trillions of cells because every single one of these cells is consciously aware. And it's listening and paying attention and taking direction from every single thought, every single word, and the emotion that we put behind that. So I ramp up my frequency. I put on a smile because I know this stuff works because I've been doing it every day. And then I consciously create my reality, but I never use spell words. And this is something I want to talk about because I hear people, they come on and they do sessions with me and they're all using the same spell words because we were taught to use them in spelling. And those are words like try, hope, wish, want, need, difficult, hard. Every single one of those words does one thing. It tells the subconscious, which can only take a direct order, that what you desire is still not here yet. And in the case of a word like it's difficult, it's hard, I need, that's setting up your reality to play out that way. Because I can guarantee anybody, anywhere, you are living your beliefs. If money comes to you easily, it's because you believe it. If you're having a difficulty with money, it's because you have an underlying subconscious belief that money is hard and difficult. And that's how they set up the 3D matrix. So basically what we're doing is we're undoing thousands of years of programming. And if we can have fun doing it instead of being pissed off and in resistance, because that lowers our frequency, the key is to get playful like a little child. And when you wake up in the morning, if you begin to consciously create your reality before those 50 to 80,000 thoughts start running and you get excited, now your frequency's up. And then you envision anything you desire is already here now. The clients, the money, the abundance, the wonderful synchronicities, the magic and miracles, which aren't really magic and miracles, they're the law of attraction. And the key is to see it here as already here now. And you begin to do this every single day. And I even have my clients that go through the 30-day mentorships with me. They set alarms on their phone to go off every hour. And they stop. And it's like a little tap on the shoulder. Psst, where's your frequency right now? And then just do a quick little reset. Yeah, okay, there I am. And then you use your breath to calm and stop anything that may be running up here. You drop into what we call 0 point, where we're not in the future and we're not in the past. And that is your position of power for manifesting. And then it becomes fun when you finally see that being playful and being excited like a little child is the highest frequency and the most magnetic one to attract our desired timelines. And so right now I'm playing with another friend of mine at getting these tools to children, because children are going to far surpass where we're at right now, because they're coming into the planet awake. And when they're taught what an emotion is, what an emotional trigger is, and that their thoughts are creating their reality, and we don't program them for 12 to 16 years. And children right now are being brainwashed in school. They're bringing in all this diabolical transgender, all the, you can see it. In one way, you could say it's horrible, but in another way, it's exposing the whole agenda and it's crumbling right now. So when we teach children the tools of how to consciously create your reality, and we allow them to keep their imagination and the unique gifts that they come in with, instead of squashing them and telling them to sit down and shut up and they've got ADHD and all this other bullshit, man, things are going to be shifting over the next few years here so incredibly quick. So
what's your thoughts on meditation? Because this is a kind of a big subject right now. There's people going around, attacking people, saying that, meditation is bad and you're opening yourself up to demons and all this kind of weird, crazy nonsense. And, people that are coming out against the agenda, doctors and other people that, are visibly speaking out against this insane insanity that's going on, whether it's the jabs and this and that. There's people out there going and saying, oh, well, this person's linked to somebody that meditates, so there must be new age. And, even though they're speaking out against all of this insanity, they're being attacked by people because of meditation of all things. I don't know that they called it transcendental meditation or something like that. And so I just wanted to know what your thoughts on meditation is, because when you were mentioning in schools, I know for a fact they've done some studies when children at school, they give them some time and they teach them to do some meditating. There's less problems. The kids are more attentive. They all of these things start to benefit in the whole class environment. But you got people out there going and they're saying, like, anybody that's meditating is new age and opening themselves up. So just wanted you to share what your thoughts are on meditation, and maybe do you meditate yourself?
Absolutely. Well, anybody that's seen my lives, I do 2 lives a week on my Facebook channel and on YouTube. One of my biggest mantras is conscious awareness is the only game in town. That's it. I mean, love is right up there with it. However, if you're not consciously aware of what you are focusing on, what you are speaking about, and what you are, again, you're a walking, talking, breathing magnet. Okay? So anybody that's knocking meditation, first of all of our judgments are about ourselves. Now, this is going to trigger some people because, they'll say, well, what about the pedophiles and what about, look, they're being dealt with, okay? But if we're judging out there and we're being triggered, our frequency is being lowered. Now, if you can observe and you can go out there and be somebody like, the white hats or whatever you want to call them that are rescuing children, that's great. But most people are just judgeaholics, and I was one of them. I was taught to be a judgeaholic in Catholic school. Every single day was Judgment Day. And I thought that's the way we fix things, by pointing out every single thing that was wrong. But what I didn't realize was everything you focus on, you see more of it and you magnetize more of it into your reality because that's what you're focusing on. So this is how the 3D matrix is so ramped up right now to block all the good information, all the loving information and the truth. And they only want people to focus on being at odds. Republican versus Democrat, White Lives Matter versus, it's all trigger fest. That's all it is, because that's the only way they can get you. So the way out is to understand that love is the answer, and just don't be judging people. I have a mantra that I use that's really, really powerful. And when I see something that used to trigger me, I go, isn't that interesting? Because isn't that interesting is neutral. And I can tell if something, I mean, if you're harming children or you're sacrificing, that stuff's diabolical, okay? And it is being removed from the planet. It will no longer be allowed to be here in these new energies. And we've got assistance. Can I prove it? No. The ego always wants proof. I understand. I want to know that the EBS systems is coming tomorrow. I want to know that all the gold and everything's been released and we're going to receive all our money that was stolen from us when our birth certificate was signed in capital letters, on and on and on. I get it. But in this present moment, if I go into, I'm not happy because it's not here yet, then who's not happy? Jeff. But if I wake up and I go, wow, I live in Thailand. Look at all the plants. Look at all the animals. I get to go out and hang out with the wild jungle dogs and the buffalo. I get to play music. I'm connected with people all over the world. I'm talking through thin air right now on 3 different channels with these amazing people. Look at all this incredible energy in the comment section I haven't even been able to keep up with. There's so much good happening. It's coming in, man. And I feel it. And I can feel that everybody else is feeling it too. and everything's just going up, 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 up. And that doesn't mean that we'll never have a fear or a doubt or a challenge. But there are tools when we stop and we ask another billion-dollar question. Whenever we have a judgment, a doubt, a fear, a trigger, we stop and we take a breath. And if we need to take another breath to stop this from running, because the ego go, yeah, and they're always doing this, and then all the people at the hair salon, yeah, and my husband does the same thing. All the people are just feeding on the negativity. You use your breath to stop, and then ask the priceless question: what is this trying to show me or teach me about me? It's always about me. The other people out there, if you really want to go down the rabbit hole, may not even exist. When my teacher in Miguel in 2001, he said, Jeff, everyone is you. I was like, what? He goes, everyone is you. There are no others. And that opens up a whole can of worms, because then I'm like, well, does that mean I'm a pedophile? And no, it doesn't. But we've got a collective consciousness that has been wounded, and it's in the process of healing. And we've got to understand that we're creating our reality with our thoughts, our words, and our beliefs. And the only game in town is realizing that. And then waking up every day. This is just my recommendation. If it doesn't work for you, that's great, because I'm only talking to Jeff right now. Waking up every day and finding something to be grateful for. And I go out and I smile at everybody, not because I'm so great and I got all this shit figured out, because I realize that, number one, I don't speak Thai. So the only thing I can really do is smile at people. And the beautiful thing is, even when I'm out riding my scooter and I'm going 40 kilometers an hour that way and they're coming the opposite way, when I smile and our eyes meet, there is an instantaneous recognition of that frequency, and they smile back 99.9% of the time, and not one word was said. It's all frequency and intention. And so I play with that every day, because if I'm in my head, and I used to be, I can still get triggered, I can still get pissed off. I don't do it around other people, ever. But sometimes when, this week I was having studio mic problems, and I was freaking pissed. But then I realized, I think somebody needs to take a break and step away from the computer. So again, I track my frequency and I go, okay, what is this trying to teach you? And when we become accountable for what we're saying, what we're feeling, and just be honest with it, then we're growing. And that's what we're here to do. Yeah, got some great comments in here. You got a great crowd, man. I'm really honored to be on here. And so, yeah, I know that maybe my answers are a little bit long because I'm pumped up and I'm an energetic dude. But if you have any questions, please fire away.
Your answers are not long, they're perfect. So we're here to listen to you. So as long as you want to talk, however much in depth you want to get into any of the answers, whatever you want to say, the more you talk, the better I'm doing my job. So,
Thank you, brother, so
we're here to hear you, brother.
Ah, that's interesting. All right. Well, I love it. So yeah, I'd love to answer any questions for anybody. Not that I know anything, but we're all mirrors for each other. And so one of the things that's really great that helped me to really heal was to realize that every one of my judgments was about me. But the ego wants us to think that it's out there. That's the problem. Now, this is pretty interesting, because this could open up a whole, million hours of debate about, well, it is the problem when they're poisoning our food, our air, our water. I understand. However, if we could get everybody together right now to just breathe into their heart and blast so much love and compassion onto anybody that we think is dark for their healing or the forgiveness of them or whatever, just doing that alone would create a tidal wave of healing on the planet. And just the fact that we're talking about it right now and even considering and thinking about it is doing the same thing on a certain level and frequency. So it's really about,
100%.
yeah, it's really about where is your frequency right now? What are you excited? That's the key. That, to me, that's the highest frequency. That's what little kids do without even thinking about it. That's why they're going, I'm flying on a rocket ship. I'm hanging out with the fairies. And then the people come in and squash that and go, get real. When really, I saw a really cool meme the other day that said, these memes about the fairies and all this stuff, that's really what's going on. That's really what's happening. You know, most people on this call are smart, or they wouldn't be on here. Our eye can only see like 1% of what's going on. There might be all kinds of ancestors and angels all around us. I don't know. I've called out to them. I've never personally known that they've shown up. I've called out to Saint Germain, Archangel, all these people. I don't know that they've ever personally given me a download ever. And that used to really frustrate me. But what's the gift of that? Well, I see a lot of people completely giving their power away to something outside of themselves, and they can't even make a decision unless they ask their guides or whatever. Hey, if that works for you, I'm not judging it. I'm just showing, I'm inviting you to empower yourself from a place of knowing that you are creating your reality, whether you want to accept that or not. Because if you're not exactly where you want to be right now and things seem kind of shitty and you're really challenged, you may be like, fuck, I'm not creating my reality. This sucks. And I was there before. I mean, you know, a lot of people that have seen my lives know that there were several times when I was suicidal in my late 20s and 30s. I was like, I did not sign up for this shit. You know, I came in as an empath and I didn't know what that word was. I didn't figure this stuff out till later, you know, but I was like, wow, there's got to be more to this dream than pain and suffering. And the only reason I didn't check out when I had that gun to my head was because I didn't want to hurt my mom and the other people that love me. I could have cared less. I was like, I don't have the answers. This sucks. And I'm ready to roll. And anything out of this mind that's tormenting me in pain has to be better. Well, thank God I didn't do that. But the reason I'm sharing this is because I didn't just wake up and go, oh, I'm awake. I went through hell. And the majority of people, the people that come and do the 30-day mentorships with me, man, they've been through hell. I mean, I journey with people that have been raped, MK Ultra, frickin' people been murdered in their family. And these people are courageous. And so I take my hat off to anybody that's going through any struggle at all. I really believe that these tools are the fastest way to do inner healing, dismantle this belief system, and really begin to see the proof that you are consciously creating your reality. And so that's why I come on and share this stuff, because to me, it's changed my life. And, you know, I paid well over $100,000 to go to, you know, a lot of the top 3-day seminars in Los Angeles, San Diego, Las Vegas, Sedona. And I got some good stuff out of them, but usually on day 3, we're all pumped up and they want you to buy their stuff, and which is cool. But then like a week later, I'd be right back to not happy. What happened? And most of these things did not teach me how to do the inner healing, and that I needed to question every single thought, doubt, worry, fear, or judgment that was limiting. Otherwise, it was just going to keep running. And this is the thing. And this is why these tools are so powerful, this waking up in the dream process, because, and I would have never used to say that, because I'd be like, oh, you sound like an egotist. You're saying your process is so powerful. Well, all I can tell you is I went through hell to get here. I paid my dues. And all I can say is every single person that uses these tools goes, oh my God, everything shifted. And so that's why I do this. But it's very important. The beauty of the tools is I have these PowerPoint trainings, and they show you what the ego does and why it does it. Because the ego, really, it's not a bad thing. It gets a bad rap. You know, Larry gets a bad rap. That's what I named my ego. And Larry was the fear-based, the judge dude. He was in shame and guilt for all the stupid shit he did when he was drinking alcohol and doing drugs and just being in pain and lashing out and ruining relationships and not being able to figure out why. You know, the common thread of 3D programming. And these trainings show you why it's doing what it does. And unless you can see the program running, you can't dismantle it, because Larry will defend it. And he'll tell you why everything's wrong and why he's doing what he's doing. Because the ego is really just set up to protect us. But we don't really need to be protected right now. We're not living in caves. There's not dinosaurs coming after us. There are some other things that are coming after us, but trust, this stuff is being dissolved much quicker than you think. And I'll be the first one to go, fuck, I've been awake for 30 years. You know, when's it going to happen? However, if you look back over to thousands and thousands of years, be very happy and excited that you chose to be here right now, because it's happening right now. And you're going to get to not only witness it, but be a part of it. And yes, we are going to be able to heal our bodies. There are technologies far beyond anything we can even imagine. And I invite everybody on here, since this just popped into my head, to, when you wake up every morning and you love on every one of these trillions of cells that's been unconditionally loving you since you've been in the womb, and you haven't even had to think about it once. They've been purifying your blood, beating your heart, creating new cells every day, you know, turning food into energy, processing trillions of thoughts every minute. You are the most magical invention that was ever created. Yeah. And you may be having some struggles, and it may seem like the pressure's on right now, but I guarantee you, you have everything that you need to create your ideal dream life. And the only invitation is to begin to really track the frequency of what you're setting your magnet to. It's the only game in town. Because if you're a magnet, what do you want to attract? Well, then say those things, think those thoughts, believe it. I'm worthy. I'm worthy of all the riches in the world, but I don't really need them. I'm living on like hardly anything. I love Thailand. It's like 1/6 to 1/10 the cost of the United States. I live in heaven, and I don't need a bunch of stuff. In fact, when I had to move out of San Diego and get rid of all this stuff because I ran out of time, because I only had 34 days to move out, that was the most freeing thing that ever happened to me. I didn't like it at the time, but I ran out of time and I gave away every single thing I owned, except I kept all my guitars, all my amps, all my mixing boards, all that. And that's still sitting in San Diego. And I still pay $81 a month since 2016. I'm up to over $6,000 in rent, and I can't even use a bunch of that stuff. But the point is, you can manifest anything you desire. And when you finally see that you can, then you don't worry about, oh, I need millions and millions of dollars. Because I'll tell you what, if you really had millions and millions of dollars, most people that have that are worried about how to hang on to it and how to protect it and where to put it into an IRA and all this shit. And it's like, it's another program. But when you understand that I can attract what I need at any time, and this was the game changer for me, the game changer mantra around money. Well, two pieces. Because I was always my story was, I always have enough to get by. And I didn't realize that that's what I was programming. And that's not too bad. I mean, okay, so I have enough to get by. I'm living in my recording studio. I got great clients that are coming from LA down to San Diego, from all over the world. You know, I'm doing my thing, and this is a pretty good way to go. But it wasn't until I was a bartender for quite a few years. And the way that bartenders and people that serve food make their money is on tips, in the US anyway, mostly. So I realized that whenever you get the tab or the bill or the check, most people would go through this process. Okay, what's 10 or 15% or whatever? Was the service good? Was the food good? All these things to size it up. And I realized what's really the bottom line? The bottom line is underneath that, for me personally anyway, I can't speak for anybody else, was I want to be nice and give a good amount, but I don't want to give too much, because what was the underlying theme? I only have so much. That was my underlying subconscious belief, but I didn't realize it, and it took me a while to figure it out. Once I figured out that I was holding back, then I went, well, there's only one way to break this. And that's every time I feel that, I'm going to agree that no matter if the food was crappy or the service was bad, because a waitress might have 3 kids, she's working 2 jobs, it doesn't matter. That was all just the egos calculating on how to only give so much. So I decided I'm going to give double or triple every single time. And so that broke my fear, and my body just started to respond and go, wow, I'm giving away more now, and I still always have enough. So then I ramped it up even higher. And I came up with this mantra that I love, and I invite you to write it down because it changed my life. Anything that I give or spend has already been returned to me. And it all comes back to what my mentor told me in 2001. Jeff, everyone is you. So when you're spending, all it is energy. So if you're afraid that there's not enough, then that's what your magnet is going to attract or repel. But if you go, oh, I'm just giving to myself, fuck, that means I can give more. There is no lack unless you believe there is. So I intend you find that valuable. That changed my life. Anything that I give or spend, another way you could say it is, I'm just giving it to myself. So it's already been returned to me.
That's beautiful.
It changed a lot for me. It changed everything around money for me.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And I've always tell people, you only can separate yourself from yourself. And that's what they're teaching people to do, is to separate you from everyone and anyone else through whatever means necessary. They've been doing that through their different programming, their different schools, their different protests. Everything is about the man, the woman, the sexual orientation, the color, and right now is a good example of it. Is they got these Hollywood satanic witches that are doing some public trial, and they got these people polarizing. Oh, I'm on the man's side, the woman's side, and they're actually giving their energy to these witches, and these aren't good people, but people believe they got to take sides, and again now they're dividing themselves from themselves. And that's kind of what the current kind of theme is right now. It's in the media every day on Facebook. You're seeing these lives, but you don't see any of the lives of that Ghislaine Maxwell. You didn't see any of those court proceedings. And we just heard that a judge knocked 10 years off of her sentence, apparently. So
isn't that interesting?
And hence why everybody's being distracted by all these other things as a judge goes and knocks off some of her time, and nobody was, no customers, nobody else. They had to seal all of the client list, and that's kind of crazy in itself.
It's mind-boggling. And again, it all comes back to distraction. They want your energy, but you have to give it to them. That's why in all these movies, I tried to, for the first time in a long time, I tried to watch a Hollywood movie the other night, and it was recommended to me by somebody. It was called The Gift I think it was with Cate Blanchett, and Hilary Swank was in it. And I mean, it was dark. And this person said, oh, this movie's so great. And I turned it on, and the symbology and everything right away was like, oh my God. And I was like, I can't find a great Hollywood movie with any of the top people that haven't had to agree to be in the club to get into that position of being multimillionaire famous. And I can't say they've all done it, but the point is, it's all distractions. And so the bottom line again is, take back your power. We're doing Facebook Lives. look at all the incredible people that are on here. I want to give a shout out, Linda Winger, and thank you for introducing me to all these new people. We got, I saw, who did I see on here?
Lori
Michael
Ivy.
Thomas, Lori Ivy, all these amazing people. So look, here's the deal. You've heard this thing about the revolution won't be televised. Well, it will pretty soon, because I guarantee you, I've seen things in the past week, and I'm in Thailand. I don't watch the television. I haven't watched it in over 25 years, but I see things that get posted on Rumble and BitChute and even Facebook. And there are stations like Fox and a couple others that are coming out and completely exposing the stuff. There's some heroes out there, and it's trickling through. Now, you know, a lot of people, again, they go, I'll believe it when I see it. That's a very low vibrational, disempowering statement. Go, I know it's happening. I know I came here for this, and I'm excited. I'm just sending love to anything that needs to be cleared and healed, because it's happening. And the key is, do not give your frequency away. So again, the process is, if you don't do this process, so many people are just having the same day, or they're recycling the same day. They're just like, yeah, shit happens. I go to work, you know, I have one day to party on Saturday and one day to recover on Sunday or whatever. I'm not knocking it. It's not an easy system. You know, they trap you to go to school for 12 to 16 to 20 years. Well, if you want to add on the extra 4 or 6 years to pay to be in the satanic club of Harvard or Yale or whatever with the secret societies, hello. And then you pay and go into debt so you can do what? Give up the best 65 years of your life so you can become, what's the other spell word?
Slave.
Tired. Re means to recycle. Tired. Figure it out. So then you can hope or wish that you can begin to live your life after you're 65. WTF.
After they've poisoned everybody, and with all their different poisons.
Yeah.
And, you know, by the time you're 65, you've got every single joint aching. You got your body's not functioning very well,
Right.
and only the small few actually enjoy after 65. With they've been able to take their health back and get the poisons out of their bodies.
So how do we bypass that? So many people say, well, I'd really like to be doing this, but I'm working my job that I hate because now I have a car and 2 kids. And I understand that, but you're still powerful enough to create anything that you will believe in and allow yourself to have. And I assist people in doing this. And there's plenty of other wonderful mentors, coaches, whatever, friends, people out there that can assist you. So follow your soul. Follow that voice inside, because, you know, I grew up a guitar player, and I'm like, well, you know, it's difficult to, you know, get rich and wealthy and this and that. And that's what I told myself. Now, if you will wake up every morning and give this process a try, and I invite you to check this out. I don't care if you buy the book or not, but I've got a YouTube channel, youtube.com/Portal to Awakening. All my Facebook lives are on there for free. I don't hold back on any of the tools. I don't go, if you really want the tools, you got to buy the book and the course. No, but I share them over and over and over. And there's 3 simple pieces, and it's do the inner healing, which in most cases, 99% comes down to forgiveness. If you are willing, I don't care what anybody comes and tells me, I got raped, I got molested, I got MK Ultra'd, my father abused me, he was an alcoholic. Look, I hold space for this stuff because it's serious. However, you would not have taken that on as part of your soul contract if you did not come here to clear it for yourself and the rest of the planet. And if you're willing and open to just look at the possibility of, I don't really believe that I would have chosen that. That's pretty effed up. However, your belief system, you don't know anything. That's my go-to mantra. I know nothing. Because the ego wants to know, and it wants to protect, and it wants to react and respond and tell you why. And that's all reactionary shit. If you can be the calm, conscious observer and go, isn't that interesting? That's so interesting. Now you're in your place of power. But if you're going, fuck you, you're pulled down, and that's exactly what they want. So the key is we don't need to fight anymore. Fighting is 3D. We raise our conscious awareness by getting up every single day and going, all right, I get another day. Wow. Isn't this a trip? We're all floating around in this sea of energies and everything. And there's all these things that are supposedly happening. And I don't even know if they're all happening, but I see them on the news. And I haven't even seen hardly any of the stuff happening. It's just been put into my field. So I guess it's happening because everybody agrees it's happening. Question everything. But number one, monitor your frequency and set it every morning without fail. Every morning, go, okay, today I'm going to be loving. I'm going to find everything I can to be grateful for. Why? Because it raises your frequency. And so if you practice this every single day, and then when you do have a trigger, you catch it and go, okay, there's a little piece. What is this trying to show me about me? Because if you can still be triggered, then that means that that's your stuff. The stuff out there is the gift that's showing you that you can still be triggered. So I take people through the process of thanking. We want to thank those that still push our buttons and trigger us. Thank you. That's when you're stepping into mastery. Not when you go, well, I've kind of forgiven them, but not really. No, that's not forgiving. And who's holding on to the low frequency? You. So when it comes down to inner healing, it comes down to forgiveness. And when you can forgive somebody and go, wow, if it's possible, if I'm open to the fact that I chose this as part of my soul contract, then it also means that possibly in another life, I was the murderer or the thief or the bad guy or the rapist. You don't know. We've been here. We're infinite. We don't know. And some of you maybe do know. I don't remember my past lives. I don't remember any of that. I got enough going on with this life right here just to track this moment in this frequency and make sure that Larry's not, going off on any tangent. And we've done a good job at using these tools to really get him to, now he's more interested in having fun. And so.
Well, I wanted to post Susan's comment here. She said it really good here. She said, every time we speak about their agendas that didn't even happen yet, we are speaking them into existence. We are doing their dirty work for these evil psychopaths. And by that, we are casting spells. She said that earlier when you were talking about the spells.
I love Susan. Thank you, Susan. Yeah, so that's true. If I were to remove anything from that sentence, and I've been the one to say it too, but I would just remove the energy of evil psychopaths. Because if we're holding that frequency that these people are evil, for me personally, when I feel that or say that, that lowers my frequency. So I just go, okay, these people are perfectly playing their role to wake up humanity after thousands and thousands of years of somehow getting away with it. But it's very clear for anybody paying attention right now that this is happening. Okay, I love Hope's question. Thank you for posting that. This is a great one. Should we simply forgive the person assaulting us over and over again? Why are you allowing somebody to assault you over and over again? Why would you stay in any type of situation, conversation, or relationship with anybody that is disrespecting you? And I say this with all the kindness and empathy, because believe me, I know I journey with people that are in toxic, narcissistic, hardcore stuff. And the reason they don't get out is because they're afraid. In most cases, well, I don't know if I could find anybody better and whatever. But I invite you to ask yourself that question, because if you're not able to forgive somebody, you are holding the frequency of resentment, judgment, anger, hatred, or whatever. And that's a 3D frequency. That's going to keep you stuck in those timelines, and you are going to magnetize. I'm not saying it's going to happen every single day, but the soul does one thing, and it does it perfectly. The soul is not concerned about time because there is no such thing as time. So the soul could take one lifetime to learn the lesson, or it could take thousands. It's very patient. So understand that we must forgive.
Here was her response.
That does not mean to tolerate abuse. That means to get out of the situation. And so I intend that lands with you. But like I said, I don't have the answer for everybody. I'm just sharing what works generally all the time with the people I journey with and myself, first and foremost.
Yeah, that made sense. But this is what her response was.
Okay. And when the government and medicine, okay. Yeah, I get this one. This is a very challenging one. I'm watching people like my mom get up every day and take a handful of toxic pills. Or let me rephrase that. Of pills that are not natural. Okay. I truly believe that you can heal yourself. There are some things that are very difficult. I was addicted to diazepam and Valium for about 3 years because my doctor put me on them and didn't tell me, never told me. Do you know that if you take these for like 30 days or more, your body's going to crave them and you're going to be addicted? Never told me that.
That should be criminal.
I went through hell trying to get off this stuff. In fact, I played the biggest show I've ever played in Spanish Fort, Utah, in front of 70,000 people, and my body was shaking like this. I did pretty well. Nobody knew, but we got this gig. I was in this band called Prem. It was like a rock mantra band out of San Diego, and we got on this tour. And my timing was not that great, or it was perfect, but I attempted to get off of the Valium and the diazepam. So I was weaning myself off of it. And they were only tiny little pills like the size of a BB. But I was taking 3 of them a day, which was 30 milligrams, which is a lot for a guy like me that only weighs 150 pounds. But I'm an ampy guy too, so it took a little bit more to calm me down.
Like 3 at a time or 1 3 times a day?
I don't remember.
I'm just wondering if it was like a big dose or you just kind of spread it out during the day.
I don't know, but I only started out at 1 and then they started to not really work. So he's like, oh, here, I'll give you another one. Oh, thanks. That's great. I love you. Yeah. However, so I started to taper off of these things and the show was coming up. And the closer it got to the show, the more I was like, my feet were numb, my eyesight, I was like, my body was tripping out from the detox. And I thought, I'll be good. I can just taper off in about 7 to 10 days. So I went 17 days. I'm in a big van riding in the back to go play the biggest show of my life. And it was horrible. And here's the best part about it. After I played the show and came back to San Diego, I went to another doctor because I'm like, this dude ain't the guy. And the other doctor told me, I know you don't want to hear this, but you have to go back on it and taper off again because you're in danger of truly shocking and harming your body. Your body's in shock right now, and it's amazing that you were able to go and play this show. So I had to go back on it, but then I tapered off with a little better guidance, and I was able to get off of it. So the reason I'm telling you this story is because I went through hell, and I'm here to support anybody that is open to finding an alternative way, because here's what I know in my heart. There is a plant or a natural substance for every single ailment on the planet. I know that the Creator put that in here. I know that they've been here. There's been proof of it, and that's why they've been removed in this whole Rockefeller pharmaceutical thing that is dismantling and crumbling as we speak. I don't know anybody that trusts a doctor. I wouldn't go to a doctor unless my arm had fallen off and it was laying 10 feet away from me. Then, yeah. And let's be honest, there are some good doctors out there, but I am baffled that I have seen not very many speak up or speak out. And I honor people like Jesse and the other heroes that are having these amazing people that come on and risk their lives and everything else. We got to do it. We got to do it. And it's working. You can see. People know to go to Rumble and BitChute, and they know where to go now to find information they can trust. And it's getting out there, and it's happening. So trust, trust, trust. And if anybody, if I can help anybody out, reach out. I don't have all the answers, but I'm a real good space holder for people because I got a big heart. I get on calls and we cry, we have tears, but that's so healing. And what's interesting about healing is when I get on a call with people and they start to tear up, you know what the first thing they do usually? They reach up, they wipe the tear, and then they do what? They apologize. Isn't that fucking weird? That we've been taught that it's shameful to release healing energies? I'm like, don't apologize. Let's cry. Let's cry. And if you need to kneel down in front of your bed on your knees and stack a couple pillows and pound out the anger or whatever you've been holding on, this stuff works. So yeah, if anybody, if I can assist anybody, my door's open. Any other questions?
Yeah, there's a few. So one was Pat. She said, is there any reason your book isn't on Amazon?
Oh,
how about Barnes and Noble?
What a wonderful question.
Or Alibris?
Oh my God, I love this, and I'll tell you why. Right now, I've got 4 tabs pulled up on my computer. I've got Firefox open. I got Chrome open. I've got How to Self-Publish Your Book. I've got Amber Sparks, where they just deducted 1 penny from my credit card yesterday because I've been attempting to get my book out there. And every single person is like the recording industry that I grew up on. They want to take 80% of every single penny from my book. And it's like, I'm selling books every day on my website, portal2awakening.com. You can download it. Some people are like, well, I want a hard copy. I'm working on that. However, most people, they spend a couple dollars, they print out my book, they put it in a plastic little sleeve, they can take notes in it. It's the information that's important. This process works. But yes, I'm in the middle because I'm like, well, is it better that Amazon sells your book for, $12 and you only get $2 and they get 10? And I'm like, Amazon, fuck Jeff Bezos. I don't really want to give him money. Is it more important to get the information out there or to give him, And then I go on to do all this stuff, and it's like, okay, this cover, this photo I downloaded off Gaggle. So I don't know who owns it. I spent 2 hours last night trying to figure out, how do you figure out if some artwork that you downloaded is copyrighted or not? Because if I put this out with this title and then somebody comes and sues, it's like, it's turned into kind of like a weird thing. So it's a great question, and it's really in my face right now because, yeah, it would be great to have my book accessible to a lot more people. If anybody can, assist me with this, if that's up your alley, your ballpark or whatever, I would love to, talk about that. But yeah, my book's only available right now at portal2awakening.com. And thank God, I've been selling books almost every day, and I keep the whole amount. Well, Stripe deducts about $1 something. That's pretty good. So thank you for asking that question because that's so in my face right now.
So Linda asked this question earlier, and I'm wondering if this might, help in any way. So she's wondering how she might be able to convert your book to audio from the text. A lot of people,
I love this.
A lot of people like the audio books.
This is so in my face right now.
So maybe if you were to talk your book into an audio and be able to provide audio books for people, that same book, and then you might be able to sell more books, and that might be something that the door for you.
I have a response, Your Honor. I have recorded the book in audio. I'm a recording engineer. I have been since I was 15 years young. And I went back and listened to it, and I was like, you got to redo it. It takes a long time. Even though this book isn't really that thick. It's really pretty thin. Everything's backwards in my camera here. It's reversed. But yeah, you could read the whole book in a day, but the key is to really digest it and download it. So yes, I have recorded the book on audio, and I'm addressing that as well. So it's really beautiful that both these questions just came up right in my face, one after another. I love that, because this is how the mirror works. And I am paying attention, and I'm doing my best, and your questions and your love, and just the fact that you're interested in supporting this powerful stuff, these powerful tools, is really a gift. It's really humbling, because again, I said earlier, I never planned on writing a book. I had no credentials to write a book. And thank God to Tina Unique Faith, who I met on Facebook, who I've never met in person. She said, hey, I said, well, I kind of got, an idea. And she goes, send me your notes. And I sent her my notes, and she goes, you have to put this out. She said, this is amazing. And I'm like, really? Larry was like, I don't know, And so thanks you to Tina Unique Faith. But yeah, I've been investigating covers. A lot of people want, $300 to $500 for a cover. That's okay. It's just, then I need ISBN number. That's $100 for the paperback, the audiobook, and the digital version. You need a separate ISBN number. So I'm playing with it. But right now I've got a whole bunch of videos pulled up on YouTube about how you can do it for free. And then you get into half hour into it, and it's not really for free. And, I'm in the rabbit hole right now. But thank you, everybody, very much for that. So if anybody has any questions, where can we listen to your music? ReverbNation.com/Jeff Cloud. That's just a tiny smidgen of what I have. Jimi Hendrix is the reason why I play guitar. To me, he had the highest frequency. And I've got a guitar that are signed by 13 of the greatest guitarists in the world, my heroes: Jeff Beck, B.B. King, John Lee Hooker, Gary Moore, all these, Johnny Winter, Stevie Ray Vaughan, all these incredible people. But I also do some really mellow, beautiful, dreamy stuff as well, because I like both things. But yeah.
Is Jimi Hendrix Morgan Freeman?
I don't think so, man. I've seen that. I saw that post like a week ago. No. I mean, I'll come back with right now, I know nothing. And I'd love if Jimmy was alive, because, I saw yesterday where Elvis is still alive, and he'll be coming back, and he might be this one preacher guy that's out there that's doing some good stuff. I don't know. I know nothing. But I'll tell you what, I think there's going to be some mind-blowing reveals coming up really soon. And I'm just patiently waiting for the emergency broadcast system to hit, and to see some tribunals, and to see some real truth, revealed. Because I'm seeing people are still posting, pictures of Obama, and Obama's doing this and that. And, for me personally, I have it that him and Big Mike were executed almost 3 years ago. Am I a politician? Hell no. Not in any way, shape, or form. Ugh.
So when we were talking,
that's like religion. It's a club to separate, confuse, and get you to take sides against other people. My focus is on love and unity. Yeah.
So we'll just Hope was mentioning, we were talking to her before, and we said, and when the government medicine is doing the one thing, it's theirs getting. So here she also said this: surgeons did wrong things to me and used the opportunity to destroy myself and my family. Now they're torturing me with mind games, always moving the goalpost as a sport, never allowing me to get surgery. And then she said, you are right about the forgiveness. I'm making that point now in my videos. The agitators always want hate to remove our balance.
Yeah. Can you go back? Can you backtrack one to her previous about surgery, if you can find that?
Yeah.
Because I really want to send her, I want all of us to send her a bunch of healing. Okay. So surgery did things wrong to me. and use the opportunity to destroy myself. I don't know if you're saying they destroyed you but I understand you're going, now they are torturing me with mind games. Okay, this could go deep, so I don't really want to single anybody out on this broadcast. If you want to reach out to me, I don't necessarily have the answer. But right now, let's everybody send hope, just a ton of wonderful energy. And if I could say anything, I want to be really careful with this. My only intention is to uplift and support. Nobody can attack you unless you believe that they still can. Now, with that said, you might still be involved in medical billing and all this stuff that, sucks your energy. I understand. But let's find a way for you to be able to move beyond this and for you to be able to share whatever happened to you and use that as compassion and gifts for other people that may be going through a similar situation. And I honor you for sharing so vulnerably and authentically. And that's what I love about being able to gather with like-minded, loving, wonderful people on these lives. So thank you again, Jesse, for having me. And I'll be honest with you, I'll be a little authentic here. I know your previous guests, you've had amazing people on here. I mean, David Icke, Sasha Stone, Dr. Judy, all these people. And I'm going, okay, so what am I going to say when I come on? And I know that a lot of, your followers are conspiracy factualists. And I use that term because there are no theories. We're talking about facts of things that have been done. And the term theorist was actually created by the Dark Ones to discredit us from coming out and exposing all. And so a lot of you know this. So I'm like, I'm going to come on here and just talk about creating your reality and focusing on all the good. And I didn't know if that was going to trigger a lot of people that are used to seeing exposure type stuff. Because I've been exposing stuff for 30 years when everybody said I was crazy. And now I'm more focused on consciously creating the new earth timelines. Because what I see for me personally is, if you want to choose to be in that group of focusing on all that stuff and low frequency stuff, the timelines are going to split, and that may be your reality, more than likely, if that's what you're focusing your energy on. But if you go, no, I came here to be part of the shift, and yes, there's some nasty stuff going on out there, but I'm going to realize that I'm a magnet. I came here to be part of the shift, and I'm going to shift my energy and my focus every day to being grateful, to being kind, to being loving, to finding the gift. And if I am one of the ones going out there creating change, like I saw a great post yesterday from this one of my favorite people on Facebook, Jessica Dawn, and she's a single mom, and she's like, we don't have one toxic bottle of anything in our home. And I'm, I've been doing the same thing. I don't, I get some ants in here because it's Thailand and it's hot. And if an insect dies, they come in to feed off of it. And next thing I know, I got a trail of freaking ants in here, and I'm triggered by little ants because they bite and they leave welts. So I can get triggered too. But I don't want to use toxic chemicals in my place. And when I drive by these little markets in Thailand, and I've been to Nepal and places like that, and they're owned by Coca-Cola and Doritos, and 99.9% of all the food and drink in these places is nothing but poison. And so little by little, we're not going to fight these people. We're going to just take our power back, and we're going to just stop feeding their tills, shift out of, if you're addicted to sugar like I used to be. My mom used to buy ding dongs and ho-hos and Twinkies, and I didn't used to just eat one. I was a young teenager, and I'd come and eat the whole box. I was addicted to sugar. I wouldn't just eat a tiny little bag of Doritos. I needed to have a big one. I was addicted to all this stuff. I lived in my studio for 27 years. I ate more Jack in the Box, McDonald's, Burger King. It's amazing that I'm still here. And so these are how we take back our power by not fighting, but by just stopping feeding that which is no longer we want to see in our reality timelines. Yeah.
Here's one from Too Flicky. He says, "Help me marry if you can, sir."
Oh, I love that. Okay. I help people get married for $10,000 US each. So if you'll just send that to my PayPal, I guarantee that you'll be married within 14 days. I'm
Okay.
joking. Okay. All joking aside, dude, you're giving your power away. Okay. First of all, why do you want to get married? Now, Tafik, okay, I don't know what country you're from, but all countries have programming, okay? Where I live in Thailand, it's really trippy because people here are so heart-centered. There's a Buddhist temple on every corner. People have seen a lot of my lives where I'm standing at the top of the hill. They build these temples on these mountains, and I got a 3-story gold Buddha behind me, and the energy up there is amazing. And so these Thai people are super heart-centered. However, they do not show affection in public. They do not even hold hands. I've never seen anybody kiss in public. I'm a super loving guy. I don't need to make a big scene, but it's trippy here. And the women here, they look at a guy like me and they see me as safety. So they want to marry me because they think that I'm a retired, they call them Farangs here, and that they'll be taken care of if they just marry me. They're not interested in sex or anything. They're like, I'll cook food for you if you pay for the house. But then what you don't understand is when you marry a Thai woman, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it, but this is tradition, you marry their whole family. You get everybody. So it's trippy. So I'm wondering why you would want to get married. And if it's because you want to love on somebody, I understand that because I'm a big lover. I've never been married yet. I almost got married a couple times, but it didn't happen and I wasn't even ready. I hadn't healed and done my inner work, but I'm a lover, So here's what I would say to that. When you love on yourself so much and you're happy, you'll attract a like frequency person to be with you. However, if you're just needy and hoping and wanting, you're going to attract somebody like that, and that may be perfect for you. But I wouldn't recommend that. Yeah. Hey, Linda. Hey, David. Oh, cool. I'm glad you're enjoying the music.
So David said,
ReverbNation.com/Jeff Cloud.
So he said he's actually listening to your music right now in the background while he's jamming to it on his iOS studio, listening to you guys at the same time. Who says men can't multitask?
I love it, man. Thanks for checking it out. I haven't been in a band for 6 years because I've been in Thailand and I've tried to put them together here, but the Thai people, God bless them, they get together 1 week and then I don't see them again for another month. So I'm playing with right now. I've got a looping station and I'm kind of doing everything on my own. And then, I've got a couple of really nice guitars here. A Thai guy just made me this beautiful Strat and it sounds like $1 million. And now the challenge is attempting to get it to go out to where it sounds right over the internet because my last MacBook died and Apple, who's right up there, I don't know if I should go into it, but they're pretty evil. I've been a Mac guy since the very first little Mac Mini that had the floppy drive in it with 4 megabytes, not gigabytes, megabytes of RAM. I think that was 1975 or 1976. But my last MacBook died, and Apple did me the favor now of they've removed the input audio jack. So I had to go buy a whole nother input box, all this stuff, and I still, after months and months, have not been able to get the audio to where it doesn't sound weird and there's a delay and all this shit. So I'm playing with it. It's coming. Yeah, I love that Strat too. It sounds like $1 million.
Any concerts or anything that you may do some lives where people can hear you? Maybe do some live entertainment, some live jam sessions. Is that something in your future?
I'm playing with it. Right now, like I said, I don't have a band, so I'm playing with this looper. I've kind of got cables in it, so I don't know if you guys know what a looper is, but let me see if I can get it up here. I don't know if I can. Okay, so I'm kind of pulling on my cables like real hard. This is a looping box that has 8 different channels. And basically, like you play a rhythm guitar part into it, and then you hit the pedal, and then that rhythm guitar part keeps playing. And then so I can come back and I can layer a bass over the top of it, you know, and shakers, and I can play flute or, you know, Tibetan bell, and, you know, just start to play lead. And then so it's endless, and it's pretty freaking cool. But you kind of got to have your act together. And again, it's to where I haven't figured out to where I can get my audio to sound proper going through the web. And it's really frustrating because I've been a recording engineer for 40 years. I've got the finest gear in the world sitting in San Diego. And I'm here like kind of starting over from scratch. I brought one good Shure SM7 with me here. And, you know, I have some okay stuff here, but to answer your question, it's in the process, but it's been frustrating. And I had intended that it would happen sooner, but music is going to be part of my play shops. I'm not really big on the word work because it's got kind of a heavy frequency, but as soon as things open up a little bit more, I've been invited to go to a lot of different countries to do waking up in the dream with people in person, or whatever we're going to call it at that time. And music is definitely going to be a big part of that because it's very heart opening. And I'm a pretty, what would I say? I'm into channeling music. Music probably saved my life. And to me, it's healing, and it is one of the greatest gifts to man. It's got frequencies that are incredible. So yeah.
Could you maybe play something for us now?
I don't really have a way to do it.
Okay.
I guess I could turn. Yeah, I don't really have a way to do it. Well, I'll do it for you just because when you asked me to do that, I felt a little bit of an edge come up.
Yeah.
So I'm going to step into that, even though it's not. Larry doesn't really want to do it.
Doesn't have to be perfect. We just want to hear you. We just want to hear you jam.
So I just turned on my box. So let's see what comes up. I don't know what you're going to hear.
That sounds amazing.
Oh, you can hear it coming through?
Oh yeah, it sounds amazing.
So this would be like one loop. So this is like the mellow stuff that I like to It'd probably be better if you could see my guitar. But then I've got, then I got the other channels. So,
wow, that's incredible. And you got Pat says gorgeous, Joyce says beautiful. We got hearts there. That first part that you played when you first started, that is so healing sounding. And I agree that the little bit that you played at the very beginning, very soothing, very healing sounding.
Thank you, brother.
Linda's
I'm honored.
beautiful, Jeff. Love it.
I've got
That's coming in
I've got over
super
100 of
perfect.
those pieces that are just sitting on my looper right now. So all this stuff could be uploaded to a drive. Like, can you hear this one?
Very loud. That's better.
So this is 3 guitar parts. You got this part, and you have this part, and then a slide part. So one of the ideas is, since I pretty much grew up as a rocker and a blues guy, but understanding the power of frequencies is a lot of people gravitate towards this, what I would call the prettier, dreamy, sparkly stuff. So what we just got to do right there, and I'm glad I stepped into it, is I got the affirmation that the green light is on, and that's the gift of this collaboration, and also of me stepping in. And it would have been really easy to say, I don't have it together. And so when we step into our edge a little bit, that's when the gifts happen. And so I love supporting people in that. I have done my own tests where I've done my own StreamYard Live, because I have StreamYard. I use it twice a week. Well, I use it all the time with clients, but I do my twice a week lives. And I've just gone into record mode, and I did that, and I listened back to it, and it doesn't sound good to me. So it will be very interesting to come back and listen to this transmission where people are saying that it sounds great. And thank you for all the wonderful comments, everybody. How wonderful, because that's just scratching the surface, but I'm greatly touched and honored. Yeah. So I don't know how you're doing on time. Are you
we're
good?
still
Or,
okay.
I mean,
Yeah, we're still okay. Andrea says, can you come play at my bar? Not sure where she is, but you got someone coming there.
where are you?
Wowie, and we got Nice, and Tofiki says, beautiful voice. I think he meant
Thank you.
sound.
Thank you.
Wow from Michael Thomas. Magnetizing.
Hey, Michael, great to see you, brother.
From Andrea. You have beautiful rhythm from Tofiki. My spontaneous moments are the best moments, says Erica.
Thank you, Erica. Absolutely. Yeah. I love it. Thank you, everybody.
She's
So
in
much.
California.
Oh, wow. I'm from San Diego. What part of California are you in?
So this is what so a good friend of ours, Pat Hauser, she's in San Diego, and you were talking about your stuff. She says, if I can assist in any way,
God bless
I'm
you.
sitting right across the border from San Diego because I can't afford to live there anymore. So she's in Mexico, but she goes, into San Diego all the time. So if if at any time you maybe need, something, for, maybe her to send you one of your guitars or something, I don't know.
Thank you so much. How kind. Yeah, they're all on Miramar Road, which is in the Miramar area, which is probably about 20 minutes up from the border. I've got a friend who, we've been talking about this. I sent him a little bit of money to help him get his van back on the road. And he's like, yeah, bro, anything you need. But importing things into Thailand can be pretty tricky. And I've got guitars that are from like 1937, 1965. I mean, I've got some of the finest guitars. So I don't know. It's really interesting how I talked about letting go of attachments. And when I had to move out of my house, I got rid of like everything, big screen TVs, everything, but I kept all my gear because it's taken me, a long time to put it all together. And I still plan on, using it and doing something with it. But the more I'm in Thailand and this place grows on me, it's like, I don't know if it ever makes sense to come back and live in California again. So
the less you become attached to that stuff, it sounds like.
Yeah. But at some point, I'm going to have to do something with it because I'm up to over $6,000 in rent since 2016, and you know, people say, "Well, just sell it," and I'm like, "Nah. If you knew what it felt like to pick up a guitar that you've had for 30 years, and it's like I'm not done yet. I feel like I'm just getting started, you know." But anyway, thank you, Pat, for the kind offer, and thank you to everybody for your amazing energy. If anybody wants to come to Thailand or would like any information about it, reach out to me because I knew nothing about Thailand when I came here. I only came here because I thought my soulmate was here. Like I said, I came here with only $650 to my name, which is nuts. You would never go to another country and think, how long do you think you could live off $650? But it just Thailand embraced me. And, you know, I just moved into a brand new home. I mean, brand new. Nobody ever even lived in it before. And it's beautiful. I've got a gated yard, not that I need one, but got a big gate and all these plants. And I bought myself a beautiful water fountain out front. So I'm listening to music, or I mean, water running all day. And this home, brand new air conditioners, everything is only $300 a month. And that's expensive for here.
Wow.
So yeah, it's like, you know, Thailand is ideal if you can leave your friends or whatever, and you can work online. If you can work online, this is a wonderful, wonderful place to be. But it's, you know, it's not for everybody. It's just, I just think it's one of the most earthy, prana infused lands I've ever been around. I go out on my scooter every day. A lot of people have seen my Wild Jungle Dogs series where I just run into all these wild dogs that are abandoned and everything. And some of them are in great shape and some of them have half their face missing. And I mean, not to be graphic, but this is what happens. And so I do my best to help them. But while I'm riding around, there's banana trees, there's coconut trees, there's the most incredible orchids, the smells, there's water buffalo everywhere, there's lizards, there's snakes. There is so much, excuse me, love coming out of the earth. Anywhere there's not concrete, there's plants, and they're purple and orange and yellow. And it's just like, I'm like a little kid. I just go out and I talk to every plant, every flower. I'm like, I love you. And I'm just riding around the middle of nowhere. And Thailand has been, they kind of swallowed the pill on all of the V stuff. And people are still wearing the masks. And even after they've got 3 Vs, and they're even driving in their car with their windows rolled up with it. But I don't wear one, and I smile at everybody. And I've never had anybody like come at me hard because I'm just holding a kind frequency. If I have to go into a store like once a month, I'll go into town, which is about 25 minutes away, and I'll stock up on my blueberries and my cashew nuts and whatever, you know. And they want you to wear a mask in there. So I put it on. I don't cover my nose. I put it right here. I know exactly where to go, and I'm in and out of that store in under 5 minutes. Because to be honest with you, when I put a mask on, my body goes into reaction. It knows that it's not good, it's not natural, and it's harmful. And so for anybody that's still wearing one, my heart goes out to you. There's no judgment, but I've done my research. And so, yeah. Unfortunately here, the Thai people are very loving and trusting, so they just believe what's on the television. They don't question things here. It's not in their nature to question.
The Asian countries have been wearing masks for a long time, though, as well, because of the amount of pollution, the amount of smog. I was in Asia. I went to 8 different countries 10 years ago. And, you know, it wasn't like a majority of the population, but everywhere I went, I saw people with masks on, right? And this was before all this crazy insanity ends, just because they rather, you know, put something on to make them, I don't know if it even helps them with the pollution. But I would see a lot of people almost everywhere I went. There were people, you know, a small percentage, but people were wearing masks 10 years ago throughout Asia.
Yeah. I will say one thing about Thailand. Where I live, compared to the rest of the world, they say the air quality is pretty bad. Some days I go out and I can't see the mountains like 5 miles away. And they do a lot of burning here, like unnecessary burning. They've just been doing it for thousands of years. And so they'll take a little pile of leaves or something when there's a whole field right across the road where they could just take it and toss it, and they'll just burn it. It's just like they've been doing it forever. So I'm in their country. I just go, even if I get a little bit triggery, because I just took a shower and now I'm riding on my beautiful scooter through the night air, and all of a sudden there's just a pile of smoke coming across the street. And I'm like, fuck. But I'm just like, you're in their country, dude. Love it. Love it. Keep your frequency high. You can go home and take another shower. The one thing is, here, the air quality can be pretty bad. I've never had a problem. I've never got sick. I did have something 2 weeks ago. I got something. And I did not even entertain for one moment that it was the con.
So
I had ivermectin that I bought last year, and I had it sitting here, and I took ivermectin and zinc. And it's very interesting because it hit me pretty hard, but I didn't have any runny nose. I didn't have any sore throat. I wasn't coughing. The only thing that happened to me was I woke up the first morning and it felt like my eyes were going to pop out of my head, and it was really intense. And then I took ivermectin, and 24 hours later, I felt like way, way better. And I thought, this is great. But then it dragged on really, really slow. And I felt really, really low energy for like about 12 days. But I'm back now as of about 4 days ago. But, you know, the key is not to judge anybody, just to, you know, the only thing that I find tough is that the kids are being taught fear, that you need to cover up, you know, and anybody that's done research knows that there's particles on a lot of these masks. They don't stop anything. I mean, if there was a virus, let's use common sense. It could go right into your eyeball because there's liquid right there. So, you know, you got an immune system. Anybody that's on this call knows this. You know, I probably shouldn't even go into this because I don't want to trigger anybody.
Well, we were just talking to Dr. Robert Young, and we've talked to, I think, 20 doctors.
Love him.
That, you know, and it's about, you know, being your terrain, your body just needs to detox. So, you know, people get sick and they're like, oh no, I caught something, but you know, that's just your body, you know, protecting itself. So when you have enough toxins and you have enough poison inside of you, you get sick in order to expel them out of your body. So it's actually a good thing to get sick. If, you know, if you're not toxic and you're not, you know, you're eating perfectly and cleanly and all this. And like, I haven't had a cold or flu in 4.5 years. And I've, you know, used to get sick once or twice a year. But once I, you know, stopped drinking and stopped synthetic drugs and stopped eating meat and, you know, focused on eating a lot more cleaner and all these kind of things, I haven't been sick, like, you know, so beautiful. You know, but for me, I if I get sick, great. I just going to expel whatever toxins that I need to expel because, you know, that's the body just telling itself, hey, you've got a toxic overload. So, you know, that's what I believe it is, that you can't really catch things, you know, from other people. And, you know, when we just talked to Dr. Robert Young, he totally confirmed, and he is really smart. Like, wow, the stuff that he's done and the credentials and like, so you know, he was quite it was quite awesome to be able to chat with him for 3 hours before, you know, we got on here.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you for sharing that, because it's very important, and we're not on here to judge anybody. We're all learning and growing together. I will add to eliminating, you know, things like alcohol and sugars, because sugar's the main thing. I mean, you know, they just feed diseases and stuff. And, you know, that's why there's sugar in everything. I go around and I order these mango smoothies, and I'm like, God, these things are good. I was having 2 a day. And then I notice, I'm like, this girl's filling up a shot glass with something and dumping it in there with the mango fruit. And I'm like, what's that? And she goes, well, it's the flavoring. I'm like, no, the flavoring's in the mango. Let me see that. And I taste it, and it's pure frickin' syrupy sugar. And I'm like, So I couldn't understand why I was starting to get a little bit of belly on me from drinking these 2 or 3 mango smoothies every day. And I'm like, what's going on? So now I'm like, mango smoothie, no sugar. But one thing I want to add on top of this thing, aside from eating and drinking and putting wonderful, water and healthy things, bless your food, bless your water, energize it. And even more importantly, when I talk about loving on your cells every day, do it. They're listening, they're paying attention. And when you see and feel that water coming out of your shower, how incredible is it that you can just turn a little knob and you've got water? I live around people that don't even have water coming into their place. They live in wooden shacks that are several hundred years old. So when that water's coming on you and cleansing you and blessing you, get in tune with that and just love on it, because it's really, really key. So I want to thank you. I don't need to go. I could stay here all day, but I want to thank you, Jesse, for having me on. I'm honored. And I want to thank you for all the other amazing guests that you've had on, because these are the people that are coming out and sharing the truth and the life-changing stuff. And, it's necessary. And again, not all of it's pretty, but again, it's really key. My role, I guess, that I would bring to the table is to say, we're not here to fight anymore. We're here to be very aware, to learn, to be in our hearts, and to do whatever we can to raise our frequency and create the New Earth timelines. And in the New Earth timelines, there 5D and beyond, there is no judgment. There is no projecting. It's all, how can we journey together to create what we know is the way it should have been before it got hijacked. And we're going to see it happen faster and faster and faster the more that we focus on that. Yeah.
Yeah, the key is to stop being afraid and just live in the true power of the love vibration that we're meant to be here in. And, that's when the walls start to come down and we start to, embrace one another and stop being afraid of one another. And that's the true beauty and magic that's going to happen here on Earth once we can start loving everyone again, like properly, how we're supposed to, truly how it was meant to be here.
And it's already happening. In fact, it's already done. That timeline is already here. It's just a matter of us deciding, okay, and then practicing and being gentle with ourselves. Okay, I just kind of got triggered, or I'm not going to judge anymore. I'm going to thank anybody that I judge for being my teacher, my greatest teacher. I'm going to begin to thank everybody instead of projecting that they're wrong, because that just means that I'm holding that frequency. It's really key. The hologram is reversed. Very key to understand that.
100%. And gratefulness is definitely a good, kind of mantra to live by. So John was saying that when you ended up, a couple weeks ago and you got sick, he's like, it could be the chemtrails too. But I wanted to ask you about that. What do you see? Like, is it cloudy there all the time? Is it sunny through all the time?
I don't see any chemtrails where I'm at. None. But I see the most beautiful, majestic, incredible clouds you've ever seen, dude. It's
like real clouds.
And I'm from California, so I'm used to seeing a lot of beautiful stuff. And I'm living kind of out in the country. I'm about a half hour from Chiang Mai, which is in northern Thailand. It's about 8 hours north of Bangkok, which is down in the bottom left corner. But man, the skies here are so majestic and beautiful. I've never seen one chemtrail. I don't think they either have the money or I don't know. I just don't think this is I think they've got people under control enough with the television, and almost everybody is signed up for the jibby jab, if not 3 or 4 of them. And so I just don't see that here. But I don't know what it was because I haven't been around a lot of people. Like, I mean, I go out riding on my scooter and I'm around a lot of dogs every day, you know, in close like petting them and giving them medicine and stuff. But I don't know what it was, but I know that, and I trust that it was a reset. I know that for a fact. And so, because I hadn't been sick since I got here in 6 years. That's a pretty long time. And I attribute that to eating healthy and loving on my body. I'd love to do a singing bowl thing. I only have a couple of little tiny bowls. I have one in E because I play a lot of guitar in E, and I have one in D. But, you know, in storage, I've got like big bowls and all the good stuff. But if you guys would like, before we go, I'll do a little bit of flute to kind of send us into our hearts, and we can do a little, I've been here since 2016, so it's mind-blowing. I have not been back to California for even my mom's birthday or anything, just because, well, number one, I'm not going to travel. And if you want to go through an airport in Thailand, you can come in and out now, I think, without proving that you got the J, but you might have to be quarantined, or they're really big on sticking this PCR thing all the way up inside your head, which is a big, 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 big no-no. Anybody that's done their research on that, and this is not to instill fear, but you can go to BitChute and Rumble and look at what's on the end of that Q-tip, and they've found more gelins and all kinds of, it's diabolical. But yeah, you can get in and out of here. It's just that I'm not ready to go anywhere where I have to be subjected to things being stuck into my body. But it's going to open up soon. It's going to open up soon. I'm anticipating that EBS is going to hit in the US and some other countries like Australia and UK, which has really been hit hard with dark agendas. And now we got this whole thing where, you know, there's a vote coming up where Fauci and the fake Biden or whatever, they want to turn over all the decisions for our health to the WHO. And they're trying to do this. I mean, this is, so let's not go into any fear. There's no way this is going to happen, because if it did happen, it would kind of be the end, because they could just go, you can't go anywhere or do anything unless. So anytime we see anything like that on the media, just send them love and go, not in this timeline. Your time's up. Your time's up. Your time's up. Thank you for playing your role in waking up humanity, but it's a no. It's a no from me. So
could you tell people about what you do with the dogs there? I don't think we've talked about that.
Oh, well, I've always been an animal lover, because when I grew up in Cincinnati, Ohio, my mom, when my dad died, bought us a house in a really nice area that had woods right behind my house. So I was in the woods. If I wasn't in school, I was in the woods. So I began to, you know, nurse 6-foot black snakes, turtles, rabbits, raccoons, you know, back to health. And I was, you know, catching salamanders and in the creeks, and we'd build, you know, tree forts and stuff. And so the woods, the earth always has, I mean, it's been healing to me. It's probably saved me in a way. So when I came to Thailand and I started riding around on my bicycle, because when my relationship fell apart and I came to Chiang Mai and realized that I could get an apartment for $150 a month, I was like, when the guy told me that, and this all happened through synchronicities, it was a trip. Another guy I met on Facebook. Thank you, Facebook, again. He said, I can get you an apartment. Come up to Chiang Mai. It's a digital nomad capital. People speak English, and I can get you an apartment in my complex for $150 a month. And my immediate response was, you mean $1,500, right? Because I'm from California. A box is $1,500. And he goes, no, $150 a month. I'm like, what? 2 days later, I was dragging my suitcases, and one with a broken wheel. I wanted to toss it off a side of a cliff, but it had like my wireless mic and some expensive stuff. You know, I brought the valuable stuff, whatever I could fit in 2 suitcases, because I'm leaving and I'm going to Thailand. So I come up to Chiang Mai, rent this apartment, and I rented a bicycle. a little yellow bike with a basket on the front. And that's how I rode through Chiang Mai, which is all flat for the most part. You have mountains surrounding it, which are beautiful, but Chiang Mai is all flat. It's around this moat, which is like this waterway. So that's how I met everybody. Every day I'd say hello to people, and it was just amazing. So I start to see all these wild dogs everywhere, and I'm like, how come there's all these wild dogs everywhere? And I'm a lover, so I'm like, I love you. And, you know, with my voice, most of them will feel the energy and they'll come up to you. But if they've been abused, some of them definitely won't. And so I started this thing called Wild Jungle Dogs, and it just kind of took on a life of its own. And so I met this dog who I named Master Wuji, and he was a puppy, and he came out of the woods with his 4 sisters, and he became famous on Facebook because he trusted me, and he got on my scooter and he started riding with me all over. We do 20 to 40 kilometers a day. Here they call it kilometers. We're used to talking about miles. It's a little bit different. But so Wuji became famous, and people started to send in donations to help the dogs that, you know, were wounded or had broken legs or had horrible diseases and stuff. All their hair was missing. And I'd go buy them one, you know, $30 pill. And a month later, all their hair was grown back in. And so I would, you know, do updates with all the people that sent in the donations. I go, you know, Grace has grown all her hair back, and I just want to thank you. And it just took on a life of its own. And then Master Wuji unfortunately got poisoned by somebody, and he died. And then I met Luna, who looks almost exactly like Wuji. And even though she's a female, she decided that she wanted to ride on the scooter and trust me. And so this whole thing kind of took on a life of its own. And so it's just, when you see these dogs and they put their trust in you and you see that they're just loving creatures, it's just that some of them got dumped off on the side of the road, and now they're in survival mode. I mean, total survival mode. And so I love doing this, and people have been, you know, contributing, and I spend my own money every day, but it's very rewarding. So, yeah, I just do updates on Facebook, and people energetically send in their love, and if they want to donate, it's great. And it's just a loving, passionate thing.
This is me in Thailand with one of the dogs.
I love it, brother.
I got stuck in Thailand. I broke my foot and crashing a motorbike through a lawyer's office window. So I got stuck. I ended up getting thrombosis, and I was only supposed to be in Thailand for 1 week, in Australia for 1 week, but I ended up being 3 months in Thailand and only spent 5 days in Australia. But all the dogs, all the beach dogs, I'm a dog lover, and I just had so much of the dogs. They were just my friends, and it was just amazing. And this was that was one of the dogs that, you know, took a very big liking to me. So,
you know, one thing I want to share about these dogs, because even including myself, I think most humans believe that they're smarter than animals. Luna came to my new house about 2 weeks ago, and I can't really keep her here because it's not fenced in, and I've never wanted to put her on a leash or anything. I've always wanted her to be able to do whatever she wants to do. And so she stayed here for like 4 or 5 nights, and I would have her come in and sleep with me, you know, and she loves the air conditioning because it's like 100 degrees out during the day, and she's got fur. I can't even imagine how hot it is. But anyway, I came out after doing a call with a client on like the 5th night. She's just gone. She's freaking gone. And there's wild dogs every night that roam the streets, and they, you know, they take on a different energy than, you know, during the day, they're like kind of sweet. And at night, there's a lot of territorial, you know, jockeying for position and fighting and everything. You can hear them. So anyway, I'm like, oh no, I'm responsible for Luna. I lost her. It's my fault. So I go out riding on my scooter at 9 p.m. Luna, I'm riding all around, like, you know, 10, 20 mile radius where I've taken her, where she might be. Then I go out at midnight. Then I go out at 3 a.m. Can't find her. I do that for 2 days in a row. Excuse me. Then I send the Thai family where she kind of stays, which is where I used to live, 14 miles away at the Yoga Retreat Center. And I sent this young Thai girl a message. She's great because we developed this loving relationship because I take them pills for fleas and I brush them and I give them coconut shampoo showers when they roll in all the stinky shit that for some reason they love to roll in the deadest smelling stuff ever. So we've developed this relationship and she speaks English. So I had to break the news and I send her a message online, which is like an app like WhatsApp here. And I said, I'm really sorry, but I can't find Luna. And she messages me back and she goes, Luna's right here. We thought you brought her home. And I'm like, what? So Luna walked all the way back across 4-lane freeway and everything, 14 miles, just to go home and hang out and be with her buddy that she rolled up with when they rolled up out of nowhere. And this Thai family decided to just let them stay there and feed them. And that's how I met her out in the street. And she decided to go riding on my bike and kind of became the mascot. And so these dogs are smart. And they have senses that I dare say are 10 to 50 times beyond. Like, I talked about earlier about our human eye. We can only see like 1% of what's really happening out there in all these dimensions and stuff. Dogs can smell, hear, and sense stuff far beyond most humans. And so I'm really learning. I found this course online that I'd be happy to share the link with, and it's about animal whispering. And there's an 18-minute video that's free. And this guy is so in his heart, and he goes and he helps these horses that have been abused and all these animals. And what he really talks about is it's not about just training them. The first piece is sitting with them and clearing your mind of all thought and just being with the animal because they can feel your thoughts. And so I'm like, this is fascinating. I want to add this to my toolkit. So I bought a 3-part series. It was only like $8 US. And I think I'm going to do the whole 50-hour thing. But I'd be happy to share it with anybody if they were interested in that, because it's all about conscious awareness and frequency and vibration. Yeah.
That's amazing. So Andrea says, can I give the pills to my goats? And then she's like, what kind of pills are you giving them for fleas?
Okay, so for me, I'm giving the dogs, it's like a chocolate, it's like a Reese's cup, but it's about that big, and it's called Bravecto. Now, if you do research on Bravecto, they will say that there can be some bad side effects. But I'm in contact with a girl in Chiang Mai who has a foundation called Hand to Paw. And every weekend they're getting spayed like 37 to 50 dogs. They do it for almost free. They help dogs heal that are like missing half their face, legs. I mean, they deal with dogs that are seriously in bad shape. And some of them don't make it. I tried to rescue a dog a few weeks ago that I did a video on, whose whole face was swelled up. It was one of the dogs in the pack that I go feed almost every day. And she just didn't make it, and they had to put her to sleep. But what Amandine, the girl's name is, she said, look, I've tried everything. Said Bravecto works, and it works really well. So I take this one pill that's for the biggest dogs. I cut it up into 4 different pieces, and I give it to my dogs, and they don't have fleas or ticks for like 3 or 4 months. So it works. It's spelled Bravecto. Now you can do a lot of research on a lot of other things. There's oils that you can rub behind their necks into their skin underneath the fur. But I've found that Bravecto works really well. And, it's $30 a tablet. So I'm shelling out, $60 a week just to try and keep my initial posse happy now. And, I'm happy to do it. I just manifest it. But that's what I use. As far as a goat, I don't know, because you have to be careful about that. So I would do some research outside of a gaggle. I'd go to anything you can find that might have a little bit more truth. And I think DuckDuckGo got kind of commandeered by Gaggle. So I've noticed that a lot of the searches I do on DuckDuckGo are the exact same word for word thing from Gaggle. And I know they're not targeting probably medicine for animals as much, but you really can't trust anything on Gaggle. So just be careful, and then, tune into your frequency of what feels right. And as long as you're using love as the guiding force, you'll be guided to what to use. Yeah. And I will share the link. And so does that mean I need to share it now? Because
No. You can go back into the replay, and then you can see her. You can find, her comment, and then you can share it.
Okay.
You can share it then. So now I was just gonna say to,
dude, are you okay on time? Because we've been going 2 hours. I love this. I mean, when people are engaging, this is what it's all about for me.
Andrea said about the goats, so she can just type in, can you give Bravecto to goats? I'm sure if you just type that in,
because I don't know. I would be really careful, because there's a different one for cats than there is for dogs. So there might be some difference. So be careful about that. But I'm glad that you care,
Yeah. So, anything else you want to share? You want to play your little flute before we end up?
Yeah, we can do that. I think I've shared a bunch. If people, what I share about the 3 parts, the inner healing, and really the importance of dismantling the belief system. That's probably going to go over a lot of people's head, because the ego wants to believe that it knows. And if you don't, if your beliefs aren't who you are, then who are you? So it takes courage. But if you can see this program, that none of your beliefs came from you, because that's the truth. If you're open to that, and you can see how so many people are just reacting to anything that challenges their belief, you can see how this mechanism of control in 3D is really powerful. And the people that had all their DNA and everything, they knew exactly how to figure this stuff out, man. I got to hand it to them. They are the most deceptive, diabolical, trick you, lead you into, oh, please take care of us. They create the problem, and then they offer the solution, and they only give you 2 choices, and both of them suck. And it's really pretty brilliant how they've done it. And you've got to be able to see this and feel into the frequency. And, the assistance is coming in. The exposure is happening, but the inner healing, dismantling the belief system, and then the practice of waking up every morning and going, if I don't consciously create my reality with my vibration and my excitedness, then I'm probably just going to be rethinking the same thoughts that I was thinking yesterday and the day before. And there may be nothing wrong with that if you're enjoying your life. But again, most people are running 50 to 80,000 thoughts underneath the surface. You can research this with guys like Dr. Joe Dispenza and Bruce Lipton and Dr. Greg Braden. It's pretty simple, but most of those 80% of those thoughts are negative. So it's really important to consciously learn these tools. And if anybody wants to grab a copy of the book, it's on sale on my website right now for half price. And there's a digital course with 4 hours of PowerPoint trainings. And then if anybody wants to come and journey with me, I journey with 4 people every month. And I take them through a process, and we do 30 days. We do a long call every week. You get all the trainings, you get the book. And with the book, I have a PowerPoint, or actually it's a PDF sheet that you print out, and you fill it out before you go to bed every night, and you fill in how many times did you catch yourself judging? How many times did you catch yourself fear-based? And I have everybody go out and buy a clicker. And you just carry it with yourself, and you make it a game. And every time you have a judgment or a low vibrational thought, you track it. And then at the end of the day, you write down 397 or 788. And instead of judging yourself, you go high five, because most people don't even catch that stuff. As soon as you begin to catch it and you see that it's running on automatic, you go, holy crap. So you fill out this simple PDF sheet every night. It takes you a few minutes, and it asks you a couple of questions like, what's coming up for you? What are you focusing on? Do you still have any fear or whatever? And you start to dismantle these programs really quick. But the people that journey with me through the mentorship, dude, I mirror the heck out of them. And I'm going back and forth in Messenger. If I don't hear from them in 2 days, I'm checking in. and I'm making sure they're doing it. To me, it's the most powerful, quick thing. It took me 20 years, but I don't have people do 6 months or a year like my mentor had us commit to, 30 days. So if you're interested in doing that, go to the website, portal2awakening.com, and it's all listed right there. So again, I just want to thank Jesse and all the amazing people that stayed on here and shared, and the people that will share this with people that they feel will benefit. I mean, to me, again, conscious awareness is the only game in town, and we're doing it. It's happening. We are being assisted greatly. So know that, and, you know, just stay excited.
I just wanted to respond to Andrea. So he's not here to talk about the jab or the shedding. We interviewed 20 doctors. We can go through any of their talk all about the shedding and all about it, you know. So that's, you know, not really, you know, what we brought Jeff here to talk about.
Awesome, Pat. Kenneth. All right, I love that. Yeah, see, if you'll name your ego and get playful with it, you begin to see when Kenneth or Larry is running the program that he's running by naming it. And usually you give it a name of something like, you know, Negative Nancy, or, you know, I pick a name that's like Larry, you know, so I can, you know, see the difference between Larry and Jeff, who's a loving soul. But Larry is running his programs because he needed to, or he thought he needed to survive. So if you'll name your ego, you can really start to see what it does and why it does it. And again, you can't dismantle the power of that program unless you can see it. Once you see it and observe it and go, oh, there's Larry. Okay, Larry, you can go sit in the corner now. We don't need to be in fear anymore. This isn't, you know, 1,000 years ago. We're here to consciously create our reality and have fun. And we're going to direct our thoughts and our words and our vibration. And that's what we're going to attract, because that is the law of frequency and vibration. So yeah, I don't know anything about shedding. I know that I can't worry about that, because probably every single person that I'm around in Thailand, at least 95% of them have got the jibby, and probably at least 3 or 4 times. I mean, I go to the temple to see the temple dogs and to go up and do a live. And on the days that they do it, there is a line of thousands of people long. And even when they get done, they're still masked up, and they got their little kids and they're all masked. And it's just like, all I can do is go, isn't that interesting? I send love to all these people, because on the highest level, their soul is doing exactly what their soul needs to do on their journey. And I trust in that. And so I just send them love. And I don't go, I'm higher than them, I'm more awake. No, that's Larry. That's the ego. I go, thank you for being my mirror and allowing me to not go into judgment like I would have 10 or 20 years ago and judge you as stupid or idiots or whatever, and just go, thank you for being my teacher. I send compassion. Thank you for being my teacher. And that's...
Back then, when you would do that, you would lower yourself to that vibration instead of keeping yourself at a high vibration, sending them love, and hopefully that love brings them up to that vibration. They can feel that vibration. And because you're sending them love, you know, instead of you coming down to them, they'll come up to your vibration.
Yeah. And even if they don't feel it, the field is getting it. So every thought that you have that's kind, great, gratitude, compassionate, loving, playful, that's raising the whole frequency of the entire collective. Guaranteed, because it's all connected.
Yeah. And so people like, you know, how can I, you know, make the world a better place? How can I, you know, I'm only one person. What can I do to change the world? Well, you change your world for the better, and then the whole world becomes better because you've changed that, your world for the better. And in turn, everybody feels that. And, you know, our world gets changed for the better just because of that one person and making their world better.
Beautifully stated, brother. Yeah, the first part is inner healing. Here's the tricky part about inner healing. Nobody taught us how to do it. And because we've had to do our best, and in effect, for lack of a better word, we've had to survive. It's enough just that to pay our bills and, navigate through the shitstorm and everything else. So we're not really focused on what happened to us when we came out of the womb or when we were 3 years young or whatever. Very key, though, is why we track our frequency, because whatever happened to us that is not healed and cleared is going to show up in our thoughts and our reactions and our relationships and the people that we attract into our life. So when we begin to start paying attention and go, oh, isn't that interesting? I keep attracting narcissist seems to be the big word now. I never even heard of that word 5 years ago, but it's a big word now. But I keep attracting XXX, or that really pisses me off. Well, whatever pisses you off, that's lowering your frequency. So ask the question, what is this trying to show me or teach me about me? And just begin to be gentle with yourself and undo this stuff. And again, if you want the tools, go to my YouTube channel or get the book or whatever. And I talk about this stuff over and over and over and over. Why? And sometimes, I go to do a live and I'm like, what am I going to talk about today? I feel like a broken record. I keep talking about the same thing, but these are the tools, and they work in the quickest amount of time. And that's, if we can get there quicker to being playful and understand that our frequency is everything, then we're going to begin to create our ideal reality that much faster. So I just suck it up and I go, fuck, I don't know what I'm going to say today. I don't even really want to do a live today. And I'm like, well, do one, because I didn't want to do one last week. And I even came on and I shared, I really didn't want to come on and do this because I really wasn't feeling it. And then I come back 8 hours later when I wake up and I read the comments, and this one woman goes, thank you so much. I totally needed to hear that. I was totally, and I'm like, fuck, thank you. And thank you for commenting, because if you didn't, I wouldn't know that you got some benefit out of it. So we're all mirroring each other. So another thing I'm going to finish with, maybe, I can't promise, but I talked about this yesterday on my live. When we scroll through Facebook, in my downline is really some pretty amazing, badass, positive people. But I still allow people to come on and, share the stuff that they're doing, because, some people don't know yet and they haven't woken up to it. But I noticed that when I was going through my feed, Larry would decide if somebody was worthy of a like or a love. And I was like, oh, isn't that interesting? Depending on how somebody looks or how I feel about them, I decide if I'm going to give them a like or a love. So now I've shifted. Everybody gets a love every single time, no matter what, because they're sharing. If they're sharing stuff that sometimes I get people that I unfollow because they're just like, all they do is complain about how people are attacking them and doing things to them, and they're not taking responsibility for what they're doing. And I don't want to read that over and over and over and over. So I don't unfriend, but sometimes I unfollow for a little while. Or sometimes I'll, and this is touchy, when I mirror them and I go, you need to own it. I say it in the nicest way, but, I give them the best tool I can from the tools of, hey, come on. You're not a victim here. Only if you choose to be. So how about changing your story or something? And then if they go, thank you, then I know that it was received. If they go, then I'm like, unfollow. Because it's like if anybody attacks me or gets triggered on my page, I don't just block them immediately. I'll mirror them with the tools, because I know I've been triggered too. We're all learning and growing. But if they come back at you a second time with an attack, then I'm like, I go to my mantra. Anything less than love is not acceptable in my life or relationships. And you're either here to grow and accept, and if you are, we're all here to help you. But if not, I don't allow toxicity into my field more than once. And I'll give you a chance later, because we're all learning and growing. So you can always come back. because I know that you're connected and we're mirrors. But so anyway,
Awesome. Well, we appreciate
brother.
you sharing your time and sharing yourself
Okay.
here with us.
So we'll end this, but why don't we do this? Why don't we close our eyes or leave our eyes open or whatever and focus on two things. Number one, giving gratitude for every one of these cells that's been loving us unconditionally since we've been in the womb. And then number two, then we're going to send that out to the entire planet, thanking everybody for playing their role and for anybody that needs healing or anything else. And then I just want to say the biggest thanks to everybody. And thank you, Jesse, for having me on. I'm really honored. And I'm glad that it was well received because I'm really bringing my best in my heart. And I'm just talking to myself with everything that I share too. So I'm not above anybody. I'm all in it with everybody. And anybody that needs assistance, feel free to reach out and I'll do my best. So yeah.
Awesome, brother.
All right. So here we go. Just blast all that love and gratitude out to everybody. See it raising the vibration of the planet, seeing the shift just speeding up. People are celebrating everywhere, coming together, loving, no barriers, no judgments, knowing this is why we came here. I'm just super, super honored to be connected with all of you. And thank you so much. Super blessed.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Jeff. Everybody, this was Jeff Cloud here on The Missing Link. It's Love Inspiring New Knowledge. And, he definitely fit the bill here for that. Thanks, everybody, for all your likes, comments, hearts, and shares. It's been a great Missing Link week so far. Tomorrow is our Missing Link Thursdays, where we have lots of interviews. We start off at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time with Gareth Ike, which is David Icke's son. Then we have Randall Kaiser. He comes from Calgary. He's a cowboy and talks about what's going on and, definitely good information. Then we've got Gypsy Jade. She's going to tell us about some interesting information about, what she's learned through the medical industry and things like that. And then we got Cindy Niles. She's going to talk about communitarianism and, kind of what's been going on with that. So, again, this is amazing. Thanks a lot, Jeff. This was great. Definitely glad that you're my new friend now and, that you've came into my life. So thanks, Jelf, for, introducing us.
Yep.
And, we just keep going. So, again, we'll see you all tomorrow. Thanks a lot, Jeff. And you guys are all what make The Missing Link, what it is.
Many blessings, everybody. Look forward to reconnecting soon. Stay excited.
Okay, bye, everyone.